When I was 29, I decided to run for city council. I lived on Davis Island. And nobody that age had ever gotten into politics, and most of older people. And to make a long story short, I did win in those days, and I made a list of people to go thank afterwards that had really gone overboard to help me. And one of them was Blythe Andrews, who owned Florida Sentinel Wolf, and the African American newspaper in Tampa, still in existence. And I think run now by his grandson. And I'll never forget this. Before I left, he said, "Son, I want to give you something I never want you to forget." And I think every politician probably should have been given this at some point, or every football player, everything else. He put a piece of paper in his typewriter in those days, and he typed it out, and he pulled it out and handed it to me. And I looked it up several times, and I'm sure that he wrote it. It said, "Never become a prisoner to the boundaries of your own ego." And that is profound when you start to think about it. You see politics, everybody's vote counts the same.
Yeah.
Whether it be the richest man in town or the person picking up the garbage. And never become a prisoner to the boundaries of your own ego. You're nothing without the voters. It's like a football player needs his fans. And we should be so grateful for what we have. And I never forgot that. I thought that and the plaque that was hanging in my mother and dad's house that Grandma Rice wrote, when one great score comes right against your name, if it's not because you won or lost, but how you played the game. Those two things I always had in my mind. When I started in politics at 29, I decided that I would never ask anyone for money. Everybody thought, "You're nuts."
How do you do that in politics?
Well, I made up my mind that I wouldn't do that, and I wouldn't talk bad about whoever ran against me, no matter what. And if I thought I was crazy, but I had a lot of friends, and my folks had a lot of friends, and the way we started out, and everybody that was running our campaign was much older than I was. Actually, Dr. Flynn, Dr. Hodes, we'd have about 50 people a week. You remember some of them that would come to a meeting, and someone got in a race whose family had a lot of money, and they started putting a bunch of signs. And I remember Dr. Flynn saying at one of my weekly meetings, "You better ask for some money, or you know, you won't be able to buy as many signs as somebody else. There's nothing wrong with it. You're supposed to." It wasn't something I wanted to do. And it bothered me. And then before I left that meeting, he said, "If you lose, who are you going to help?"
Yeah.
And that really was like somebody stabbed me. Oh my God. My grandparents, my mother and dad, how much it meant to them. And there was nothing wrong with it, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. I drove home. I don't want to sound overly religious because I'm not, but I drove home with my minister who started every meeting we ever had with a prayer. We decided to do that too. And he lived down the street, in the same street. And I said, "Oh, what would you do?" He knew what I felt like and why I didn't want it. "What would you do?" He said, "Why don't you go in and read the Bible?" I said, "Well, why? I'll do that." I said, "I'll call you tomorrow and let you know I got it all solved." And I was dying laughing in the car. And I went and sat by the bed. I don't know why, but I flipped over the Bible. And the first verse that I saw when I looked down in the book of Proverbs said, "Better is just a little with righteousness than great revenue without justice."